I was in a gaming CP with a poor campus belle for 5 years. I carried her all the way from bronze to king. Later, I left a message saying I had a terminal illness, don't miss me, and faked my death. Years later, we met again on a gaming variety show. She had become a top-tier movie queen, while I was an 18th-tier actor plagued by scandals. I gave an awkward smile, and picked up a resurrection armor. The movie queen looked at me coldly. First love. It's better if you stay dead. But later, after she actually received news of my death from illness, the cold and noble her completely lost it. At the recording site of the gaming variety show, I had specifically registered a SMUF account to keep a low profile. Who would have thought my manager would secretly tamper with it, and log me in with my main account instead? When the name Meng Mingyue appeared prominently on the big screen, the live stream's live chat instantly exploded. Meng Mingyue, isn't this movie queen Bai's long-dead first love? Trading accounts in Sunset Jianghu is strictly forbidden. How on earth did Fang Yuan get this account? Could he have clung to a sponsor from the game company and used the back door? Fang Yuan is just chasing clout. He truly stops at nothing, just waiting for him to crash and burn. Everyone on site held their breath. Not a sound was heard. Bai Ningbing slowly looked up at me. In those beautiful eyes, there was a bone-chilling coldness. My hands trembled uncontrollably. The phone almost slipped from my palm. I never imagined that being exposed would be such an overwhelming and sudden scene. The person I once longed for was right before me. Yet I didn't even have the right to admit who I was. A male guest beside me who loved gossip spoke with fake surprise. I didn't expect that you play this game too, Yuan, and your rank is so high. Looks like we'll have to rely on you to carry us today. At this moment, Bai Ningbing's gaze was like an ice-cold blade, piercing straight through me. The mockery and abuse in the live chat never stopped for a single moment. I remained silent, wishing I could just vanish on the spot. This game was originally my specialty, but getting distracted by Bai Ningbing's cold gaze, I completely lost my rhythm. After another operational error, my health bar was instantly emptied. The character on the screen collapsed straight down. Looking at that dim figure waiting for revival, I couldn't help but look up at Bai Ningbing. She was looking down, her long, fair fingers tapping quickly on the screen. Under her control, the game character moved with extreme agility. Every attack was precise and ruthless. Every move was lethal. As Bai Ningbing's final blow landed, the game was officially declared over. She casually placed the phone on the table, her tone indifferent and distant like a stranger. Mr. Fang, if it's not your own account, don't force yourself to play. My grip on the phone suddenly tightened, my knuckles turning white. Because of my poor performance, the insults in the live chat grew even more turbulent. Movie Queen Bai is always gentle and polite, but her attitude today clearly shows she's angry. I stubbornly chased after her, stepping very lightly, speaking cautiously. Miss Bai, could I take a few minutes of your time to talk? Bai Ningbing lifted her eyelids, her expression cold as frost. Are we that close? It felt like my heart was being pricked by tiny needles, a dense pain spreading through my whole body. I lowered my voice and whispered, that account just now. But Bai Ningbing interrupted me ruthlessly, every word like a knife. Since it's over, you should just stay dead, instead of obsessing over it and causing more trouble. I froze completely. My steps came to a dead halt. So, she had recognized me long ago. I watched her decisive departing figure, my fists clenched tightly, sharp nails digging deep into my palms, unaware that blood was seeping out. Lu Qian appeared beside me at some point, asking softly with concern, "Are you okay?" I suppressed the suffocating ache in my heart, questioning with a trembling voice. Lu Qian, I clearly gave you the SMUF account. Why was the main account logged in? Lu Qian's eyes flickered, hesitating, before she could even speak. My heart sank suddenly. My questioning tone carried a faint, barely noticeable tremor. Why did you do this? I told you long ago. That account must never be touched. Lu Qian looked guilty, explaining with a bitter face. The company thought that your main account has a high rank. Fame can help you attract more popularity. Who knew today's mystery guest would be Bai Ningbing? This really backfired. She sighed heavily, full of helplessness. I closed my eyes, unable to say a word, only feeling a chill throughout my body. Suddenly, a commotion came from the door. It was already crowded with reporters who rushed over, and paparazzi, blocking all exits. Bai Ningbing was surrounded in the center of the crowd. Those reporters were like sharks smelling blood, each one looking excited. Sharp questions were thrown one after another. Movie Queen Bai, what is your opinion on Fang Yuan logging into Meng Mingyue's account? You and the owner of Meng Mingyue, were you really game couples once? I stopped at the corner, looking at Bai Ningbing's upright back. My heart suddenly tightened. The next second, Bai Ningbing's cold voice came through the noisy crowd, every word clear. No, it was all just when we were young and ignorant, just a bet we made. Her words were like a heavy hammer, smashing hard into my heart, shaking my very core with pain. Night fell. I curled up in my small apartment. Outside, a drizzling rain began to fall. Cold raindrops beat against the windowsill, every sound piercing. The words Bai Ningbing said had already caused a huge stir online. Viewers took my past gameplay videos and edited them against my performance on today's show, plus Bai Ningbing's cold attitude today. In an instant, both our names surged to the top of the trending searches. Fang Yuan angered Bai Ningbing by using Meng Mingyue's account. Bai Ningbing denies being a couple with Meng Mingyue. She claims it was just a childhood bet. Fang Yuan brought this humiliation upon himself. My phone rang and rang. Countless messages popped up in my DMs, without exception. All were vicious curses and insults. Such insults had never stopped since the first day I entered the entertainment industry. I thought I had long since grown used to it, but tonight these words were like poisoned blades, every sentence precisely stabbing into my heart, slowly slicing through my flesh, because in every insult was mixed that name that breaks my heart. Bai Ningbing. I wiped my phone. The screen stayed on a Weibo post Bai Ningbing made years ago. The content was: "The person has passed away." Just as I was dazed, that Weibo post suddenly vanished into thin air. A huge wave of panic suddenly seized my heart. I exited the page and hurriedly clicked back in. Bai Ningbing had already posted a new Weibo post. There was never any first love, just an absurd farce from the recklessness of youth. A short sentence, lightly, completely overturned our 5-year history, denying it all. In just a few minutes, tens of thousands of comments flooded under this Weibo post. The top liked comment, along with a game video: "I've watched it. I strongly suspect Fang Yuan is Meng Mingyue himself." But Sister Ningbing only found out the truth today. The untouchable first love was gone. Sister Ningbing must have been devastated. 2 game character figurines placed by the bedside, still leaning closely against each other. That was several years ago. A gift Bai Ningbing gave me. Back then, Sunset Jianghu had just become popular. The officials released the first batch of limited edition figurines. She stayed up all night finishing filming, without time to rest, and specifically queued at the physical store for several hours, and sent the figurines to me immediately. Sent along with the figurines was a voice message from Bai Ningbing. Her voice was so tender it could drip water. With a slight smile, "Mingyue, let's meet." I back then agreed with a heart full of joy, but in the end, I still broke the promise. Boom! A bolt of thunder suddenly exploded. Pale lightning tore through the night sky. Bai Ningbing's cold expression from the day, her hurtful words, once again clearly surfaced in my mind. I suddenly realized something was wrong. She had never seen me in person, so how could she know that Meng Mingyue was me? Thinking of this, I gripped my phone tightly, stumbled out of my front door, and rushed recklessly into the pouring rain. When I stood drenched in front of Bai Ningbing's villa, almost all my strength had been drained. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath of the cold rain, and nervously pressed the doorbell. After a long while, the heavy wooden doors slowly opened. When Bai Ningbing saw it was me, her expression instantly darkened, her voice ice cold. "Why are you here?" I didn't answer. From the first day I entered the entertainment industry, I knew her address. She once said that once she became successful and famous, she would definitely buy a house in the most expensive part of the city and decorate it according to my preferences. That would be our new home. I suppressed the bitterness surging in my heart, leaning against the cold door, my voice trembling uncontrollably. "Bai Ningbing, when exactly did you find out that I am Meng Mingyue?" She remained silent, only looking at me with those eyes that were cold and devoid of any warmth. This silent stillness actually made me feel a sudden, inexplicable panic. I lowered my head, my voice low and hoarse. "I actually went to the appointment that day, but Bai Ningbing indifferently interrupted me, her tone light, yet with an unquestionable resolve. "It's not important," I countered urgently, my voice cracking with tears. "How can it not be important? My father," he suddenly, a clear male voice, suddenly came from behind her, interrupting me. "Ningbing, where are my pajamas?" I looked up blankly. The man standing behind Bai Ningbing also paused for a moment when he saw me, then gave a polite smile. "We have a guest, in such heavy rain. Why not let them come inside to take shelter?" His tone was intimate and natural, as if he were the true master of this villa, and I was like an uninvited guest, an intruder trespassing into someone else's territory. Embarrassed and wretched, Bai Ningbing gripped the door handle tightly, her voice tinged with a bit of impatience. "Just someone insignificant." I took a clumsy step back. The pain in my chest surged like a tidal wave, almost swallowing me whole. I used all my strength to squeeze out a sentence. "I'm sorry for disturbing you." Bai Ningbing's beautiful brow twitched almost imperceptibly, leaving Bai Ningbing's home. The rain grew even more violent. Bai Ningbing's voice from the past seemed to echo in my ears, gentle and clear. "Mingyue, no need to wait for me to come online today. There's a rain scene. The lead keeps messing up. It'll probably take until midnight to finish. Mingyue, I got 2 more lines in this play. Impressive, right? Mingyue, you don't need to go to the cinema. My scenes were cut." I still remember her back then, how hard she worked on set. Now she has finally escaped those those hard days, and lives the life everyone envies. I should clearly be happy for her. But why does my heart feel like it's being repeatedly sliced by a blunt knife, hurting so much I can't breathe? Perhaps I am also an extremely selfish person. All the strength in my body seemed to have vanished. I just felt utterly exhausted, without even the strength to move my feet. A car slowly drove up from not far away. The blinding lights shone directly on me. I felt as if I were being drawn by that beam of light, unconsciously walking toward the middle of the road. Just then, a hand suddenly grabbed my arm. I was completely drained of strength and fell heavily to the ground following that force. Lu Qian's angry voice exploded in my ear. Fang Yuan, what on earth are you doing? I looked up at her blankly, like a child who had done something wrong, mechanically repeating, I'm sorry. Lu Qian's expression suddenly froze. She let out a heavy sigh, helped me up from the mud, and pushed me into the car, looking at my wretched state, her voice full of disapproval. Why would you think of coming to movie Queen Bai's home on your own? Do you have any idea how many eyes are watching her, staring at you? Thinking of Bai Ningbing's cold and stunning face, my hand involuntarily tightened. Seeing my long silence, Lu Qian sighed again, in a helpless tone. Doing this is truly too risky. I lowered my head, my voice raspy beyond recognition. Lu Qian, it won't happen again. Lu Qian sent me back to the apartment. Before leaving, she took a script out of her bag and handed it to me. Stop thinking about those annoying things for now. This is a new movie the company got for you. It's a third male lead role. You'll join the crew in a week. Prepare well over the next few days. I took the script numbly. Lu Qian added another sentence, her tone a bit cautious. The female lead of this play is Bai Ningbing. I suddenly froze in place. It felt as if the blood in my whole body had frozen. Lu Qian frowned and comforted me. You don't have many scenes with her. Try to avoid her as much as possible when the time comes. After Lu Qian left, I was left alone in the huge room. That suffocating sense of despair surged over me once again. I tremblingly opened the drawer, and finally saw that one with a label. Small medicine bottle labeled amitriptyline. I frantically poured out the pills, and stuffed them into my mouth, not even stopping to drink water. Since 5 years ago, I have suffered from depression. From moderate to severe, the condition fluctuated, and never fully healed. This matter, even Lu Qian, who is with me day and night, doesn't know. This is the deepest secret hidden in my heart. A week later, I arrived at the film set on time. Just as I sat down in the dressing room chair, a commotion came from outside. Bai Ningbing was wearing simple casual clothes, with a baseball cap on her head. Low-key, yet her aura was unmistakable. When she entered the dressing room, her gaze inadvertently swept in my direction, and she even gave a slight nod. I was stunned for a moment. The male lead beside me, Song Jinyan, immediately stepped past me, and stepped forward with a smile to greet her. Sister, you're here. Bai Ningbing's gaze swept past me, without lingering for even a second. I lowered my eyes, feeling a wave of bitterness on the tip of my tongue. She clearly loathes me to the extreme, yet I was so delusional to think that she was looking at me. Just then, a staff member suddenly burst in noisily, shouting loudly, Hey, have you seen the top trending searches? It's so shocking. Fang Yuan was rejected at the door on a rainy night. The originally noisy dressing room instantly fell into deathly silence. The person noticed the atmosphere was off, looked around, and their gaze finally landed on me. The voice stopped abruptly, their face full of embarrassment. Mr. A. Yuan? I tried to force a smile, to diffuse this awkward scene, but just as my lips moved, it only brought more strange looks from those around me. At that moment, the assistant rushed in, and shoved a phone into my hand. In an anxious tone, Brother A. Yuan, look quickly. I took the phone. A photo appeared starkly on the screen. In the photo, I was soaked through, standing miserably in front of Bai Ningbing's door, looking utterly wretched. The person taking the photo clearly did it on purpose. Bai Ningbing wasn't in the frame at all, only a few glaring words. Bai Ningbing's house were noted on the side. That day, I acted purely on impulse, never intending to cause any trouble for Bai Ningbing. I gripped the phone tightly, and hurried after her, wanting to explain everything to Bai Ningbing. Miss Bai. Bai Ningbing's cold voice rang out first, interrupting my words, her tone full of detachment and impatience. I just want to film properly, and don't want to be the subject of your hype. Mr. Fang, please behave yourself. After saying that, she turned and walked into the private lounge opposite, slamming the door shut. The staff, who were already pointing fingers at me, now whispered even louder, each sarcastic comment piercing my ears like needles. How can Fang Yuan be so shameless? Teacher Bai Ningbing made it so clear, and he still dared to go to her door to harass her. He's no different from a terrifying sightseeing fan. The paparazzi couldn't have been hired by him. right? I froze in place, like being nailed to a pillar of shame, cold all over. Suddenly, a crisp female voice broke the suffocating atmosphere. Life in the entertainment industry is truly exciting. There's always something new to see every day. I turned to look. Mingyue had a half-smile on her lips, walking in slowly. Mingyue is the second female lead in this drama, and also the second miss of the Jingshu group. From a prominent family, she's always been arrogant in the industry. She walked straight up to me and stopped, looking me up and down, raising an eyebrow slightly, with a hint of mockery. Your face is decent enough. Too bad. The hype tactics are too clumsy. Everyone was convinced that this farce was a stunt I staged myself. My hands began to tremble uncontrollably. I didn't even notice when my phone rang, until Mingyue reminded me with a half-smile. The phone is ringing. Aren't you going to answer? I finally snapped out of it, almost impatiently answering the phone, clumsily escaping this place of conflict. On the other end of the phone, Lu Qian's voice was thick with exhaustion. Yuan, I've already asked for leave from the crew for you. Come back to the company first. I lowered my eyelids, responding in a hoarse voice, okay. Downstairs at the company, a large crowd of Bai Ningbing's fans had already gathered. Those emotional fans held megaphones, screaming at the top of their lungs. I looked at those angry faces through the car window. A wave of uncontrollable pain rose in my heart. Clearly, I had tried so hard to get close to her. In the company's conference room, Mr. Zhang's face was tense. His expression was so gloomy it could drip. He pointed at my nose, screaming harshly, Fang Yuan, you're so stupid it's eye-opening. I stood there with my head bowed, letting him throw a stack of documents all over me. He roared uncontrollably. Take a good look yourself. How many partners have sent messages to terminate their contracts with you? Lu Qian was sweating profusely beside him, hurriedly trying to smooth things over. Mr. Zhang, please calm down. Yuan didn't do it on purpose. Mr. Zhang slammed the table hard. His anger flared. Not on purpose? Then why the hell did he go crazy and go harass Bai Ningbing? Fang Yuan, the mess you made, clean it up yourself. Go find Bai Ningbing right now. Beg her to issue a statement to suppress this matter. Bai Ningbing's cold face clearly surfaced in my mind again. My fingertips instantly turned cold. My throat felt like it was blocked by something. I couldn't utter a single word. I finally spoke with difficulty. Mr. Zhang, I'm sorry, I can't. Mr. Zhang's eyes widened, fuming with rage. You can't? These penalties add up to over 10 million. Can you afford to pay that? Don't forget how much debt the company paid off for you back then. My whole body shuddered, gritting my teeth, tasting blood in my mouth. I lowered my head, with deep bitterness in my voice. Give me a little more time. I will definitely find a way. I returned to my apartment in a daze. Just as I reached the door, I was shocked by the scene and took a step back. On the apartment door, someone had used red paint to scrawl the words, "Pay back the money," eyesore and menacing. The moment I was stunned, a rough, large hand suddenly landed on my shoulder. A menacing man's voice sounded, his tone full of malice. Our big star is finally back. Your address was really hard to find. I turned around stiffly. Several menacing men instantly surrounded me. The leader looked me up and down, his gaze as cold as a viper. He pulled a photo from his pocket and slammed it onto my face. The sunlight in the photo was perfect. My mother was sitting on a nursing home bench, smiling kindly. The man leaned into my ear, threatening viciously, Fang Yuan, hurry up and pay back the money you owe us. Otherwise, I don't mind letting your mother go down to a company. Your short-lived, deadbeat father. The blood in my body completely froze at this moment, until that group left, cursing. I slowly crouched down, trembling. I picked up that photo, leaning against the cold wall, slowly collapsing to the ground. At this moment, a surge of intense hatred suddenly rose in my heart. I hate those scammers who tricked my father into investing, destroying everything our family had. I hate my father. Why did he choose to commit suicide, leaving such a huge mess for me to bear alone? I hate myself even more, living such a failed and pathetic life, unable to even protect the people closest to me. When I came back to my senses, I was already back at the film set. I took a deep breath. I raised my hand and knocked on Bai Ningbing's dressing room door. Bai Ningbing looked up and saw it was me. Between those beautiful brows and eyes, a hint of impatience instantly appeared. I lowered my head, keeping my posture extremely humble, my tone full of cautious apology. I'm sorry, Ms. Bai. The previous matter was my recklessness. I shouldn't have disturbed you. I paused, gathering my courage. I pleaded in a hoarse voice, could I trouble you to help me clarify what happened that day? I promise, after the clarification, I will never appear before you again. Before I could finish speaking, I was coldly interrupted by Bai Ningbing. Her tone was indifferent, with no room for negotiation. I never respond to such boring news. Bai Ningbing looked at me with a half-smile. The mockery in her eyes almost overflowed. Besides, there are already plenty of news stories like yours. One more doesn't make much of a difference. These words, like a poison-tipped dagger, pierced my heart ruthlessly. The pain made my internal organs convulse. I gave a bitter smile. A metallic sweetness surged in my throat. I really wanted to tell her, I'm so tired. Bai Ningbing, I can't hold on much longer. I slowly closed my eyes. When I opened them again, only despair remained in my eyes. I grit my teeth, bent my knees deeply. With a thud, my knees hit the cold floor hard, making a dull sound. I looked up, looking at Bai Ningbing's stunning yet cold face. My voice was so hoarse it was barely audible, every word bleeding. Bai Ningbing, I'm begging you, please be merciful. Please help me. Bai Ningbing's pupils suddenly contracted at that moment. She stood there dazed, but after a moment, she regained her composure. Her tone was bone-chillingly cold, every word like a knife. Fang Yuan, I really didn't expect that you could be this despicable, with no bottom line. Indisguisable anger surged in Bai Ningbing's eyes. As she finished speaking, she suddenly stood up, pulled open the door, screamed harshly, Get out, don't dirty my place. I endured the needle-like pain in my chest, struggled to stand up, walked out of the dressing room miserably. Lu Qian had been waiting outside. Seeing me come out, she hurried forward, asking urgently, Yuan, how did it go? Did Bai Ningbing agree to help clarify? I shook my head weakly. The expression on Lu Qian's face instantly dimmed, sighed in full disappointment. Bai Ningbing has always been aloof and arrogant. I should have known this way wouldn't work. It's just that regarding Mr. Zhang. At this point, she paused. Her eyes looking at me held a bit more determination. Heaven never seals all exits. I'll go back to the company and work on the PR draft to see if I can salvage the situation. Yuan, do you want me to take you back? My voice was hoarse. My voice was extremely dry. Don't worry about me, Lu Qian. I can manage on my own. After seeing Lu Qian off, I walked out of the film set alone, like a homeless wandering ghost, wandering aimlessly on the Ring River Highway. I climbed onto the roadside guardrail, letting the piercing river wind carry the moisture, slapping hard against my face. If only this river wind could sweep me away, and let me vanish completely from this world. How wonderful that would be. Just then, a series of rapid vibrations came from my pocket. I pulled out my phone, and a photo of Bai Ningbing popped up on the screen. In the photo, she was drenched in sweat. The stray hairs on her forehead were damp, sticking to her smooth forehead, but the smile on her face was as brilliant as the midsummer sun. Above the photo, a line of familiar text was flashing continuously, blinking. Work hard today too, Meng Mingyue. This was a photo Bai Ningbing took and sent to me years ago when she was still an extra on set. I specifically set a timed reminder that every night at midnight, it would pop up on time, only by looking at this smiling face. Do I have the courage to drag my exhausted body to welcome the arrival of a new day? Years ago, Bai Ningbing fought tooth and nail for a small supporting role that didn't even have any lines. Now she is a top-tier movie queen surrounded by admirers, lofty and high above, beyond reach. In just a few short years, everything has been turned upside down. Things remain, but people change. I was staring blankly at the photo when a thunderous roar of a sports car suddenly came from behind. I instinctively turned my head to look, and saw a dazzling, expensive sports car speeding towards this direction. The blinding glare of the headlights shone directly at me. I hurriedly raised my hand to block it. My palm slipped, and the phone in my hand flew out, falling straight into the rushing river water. Oh no! My heart tightened suddenly, and without thinking, I tried to climb over the railing, to jump into the river and retrieve the phone. But just as I leaned out, I was suddenly grabbed by a pair of strong arms, and forcibly pulled back from the railing. I fell heavily to the ground, feeling as if every bone in my body had shattered. Before I could recover, a cold female voice drifted into my ears, full of mockery. A male star committing suicide by jumping into the river in public. This young lady has truly seen something new today. Enduring the pain, I slowly raised my head, and finally saw the person standing above me. It was Yue. She looked down, with a faint ambiguous smile on her lips, her tone teasing. Now that we're offset, you can't even be bothered to call me Teacher Yue. I didn't answer. I just turned my head, staring blankly at the river flowing eastward. I was really out of my mind just now, to actually risk my life, just to retrieve a phone. Seeing me ignore her, Yue's voice immediately dropped a few tones, with obvious displeasure. I'm talking to you. It was only then that the stinging pain of my palm being scraped by the rough ground finally began to spread. I forced myself to stand up, nodded slightly to her, and thanked her in a raspy voice. Thank you, Teacher Yue. I wasn't trying to commit suicide. I just accidentally dropped my phone into the river. After saying that, I turned to leave, without a phone. It seems I'll have to walk back to the apartment today. But just as I took a step, my wrist was suddenly grabbed. Before I could react, I was half dragged by Fang Yuan and shoved into the passenger seat of the sports car. This young lady will be merciful today and see a good deed through by giving you a free ride. I was about to refuse, but then I thought, if I walked back like this and was caught by paparazzi, who knows how many more offensive news stories would pop up online tomorrow. Thinking of this, I tiredly gave her the address of my apartment. Hearing this, Fang Yuan suddenly slammed on the accelerator. The sports car, like an arrow leaving a bow, shot forward with lightning speed, probably because I hadn't eaten for too long. A burning, twisting pain suddenly hit my stomach. I bent over in pain, clutching my churning stomach tightly. Fang Yuan noticed something was wrong. She glanced at me sideways, raising an eyebrow, her tone mocking. What's wrong? Can't handle this speed? I looked at the deep night sky outside the window, my voice as faint as a wisp of smoke. Years ago, I also had a sports car like this. After a pause, I added, in the past, whenever I was in a bad mood, I liked to drive it through the mountains late at night. This seemed to pique Fang Yuan's interest. She leaned in and asked. And then, a bitter smile touched my lips. My voice was so soft it was barely audible. Later. There was no later. After my father committed suicide back then, the mess he left behind suffocated me. That night, I drove my sports car up the winding mountain road, truly intending to end my life. Just as I steeled my heart and prepared to floor the accelerator off the cliff, the excited voice of a host suddenly came through the car radio. The movie starring rising star Bai Ningbing has seen a box office reversal, taking the internet by storm. It was that single sentence that forcibly dragged me back from death's door. The next day, I sold that sports car. With that money, I took my mentally unstable mother to a foreign land. Before I knew it, the car had come to a steady stop beneath my apartment. Coming back to my senses, I thanked Fang Yuan. Just as I opened the car door, she grabbed my wrist again. Fang Yuan looked at me with a raised eyebrow, her tone carrying a hint of adult ambiguity. Thanking me just like this? Aren't you going to invite me up for a coffee? I pretended not to understand her implication, forcing a polite smile. It's too late, Ms. Shin. When we get to the set tomorrow, I'll treat you to coffee as an apology. I pushed the door open and stepped out. As I looked up, I unexpectedly locked eyes with someone nearby. A familiar gaze at the entrance of the building. It was Bai Ningbing. My whole body froze, as if a freezing spell had been cast on me, leaving me rooted to the spot. Seeing that I wasn't moving, Fang Yuan got out of the car as well. She followed my gaze, and upon seeing Bai Ningbing, she let out a light chuckle, her tone playful. This is getting more and more interesting. At the same time, Bai Ningbing had already started walking, heading straight toward me. She stopped in front of me, her steps pausing. Her beautiful eyes were filled with cold sarcasm, every word cutting deep. Fang Yuan, I really underestimated you. So quickly, you've already found a new benefactor. I was originally full of confusion, wanting to ask why she was beneath my apartment, but at this moment, all my words were choked back by that sarcasm. Unable to utter a single word, I instinctively reached out, wanting to pull her sleeve, but she brushed me off with disgust. Stay away from me. You're filthy. I froze where I stood, as if the blood in my veins had solidified. Just then, I was suddenly hugged tightly from behind. Then, a kiss with a faint scent of perfume landed softly on my cheek. I trembled in shock, and just as I wanted to push the person away, Fang Yuan had already stepped back, a provocative smile playing on her lips. I was completely stunned, standing there blankly, staring straight at Bai Ningbing. Complex, indistinguishable emotions surged in her eyes, dark and deep, like a bottomless cold pool, making it impossible to see clearly. Fang Yuan's smiling voice reached my ears, clearly audible to both of us. Bai Ningbing, your words are a bit too harsh. We are both single. How is dating called clinging to a benefactor? After a long silence, Bai Ningbing slowly curled her lips, revealing a very faint smile, but her gaze remained fixed on me, word by word, as if slicing my heart. Then I wish you too, a love stronger than gold, and that you'll never part. A short sentence, but it was like a sharp dagger, brutally tearing my heart in two. After speaking, she raised her hand to lower her hat brim, without a hint of lingering, and turned to leave. Her resolute figure soon vanished into the night. I watched as her figure drifted further away. The hand hidden beneath my sleeve had long since clenched until the knuckles were white, trembling slightly. I had no right, nor the status, to call her back, until Bai Ningbing's figure completely disappeared. I slowly suppressed the surging pain in my heart, turned to look at Fang Yuan, my voice so calm it was almost numb. Was that fun, Ms. Shin? Fang Yuan raised an eyebrow. She seemed somewhat surprised by my reaction. My voice was hoarse, with a hint of exhausted pleading in it. You've had enough fun. Ms. Shin, please leave. I'm just a nobody. I can't afford to play the games of you rich people. The smile on Fang Yuan's face faded slightly, her expression carrying a touch of naive innocence. What a stubborn fellow. Getting with me. Wouldn't that be better than following Bai Ningbing? The resources I can give you are far more than hers. I let out a self-deprecating smile. People born with a silver spoon like them, how could they understand understand that some things cannot be exchanged for any amount of resources. Different paths cannot be walked together, as expected. Xinye's face instantly darkened, coldly dropping a sentence. Ungrateful. Then she turned and got into her sports car, and sped away. Early the next morning, just as I stepped out of the car at the set, I was surrounded by reporters waiting at the door. Blinding flashes went off incessantly. Countless sharp questions surged like a tide. Fang Yuan. Photos of you and Xinye kissing yesterday were taken. May I ask what your relationship is? Is it because you couldn't reach Bai Ningbing that you turned to cling to Xinye instead? Some also leaked that you were kept by a rich woman in high school, wearing luxury brands and riding in sports cars while in school. Is this true? Every one of them spoke sharply. Some even started pushing. I was squeezed in the crowd, unable to even stand steadily. Just then, the familiar roar of a sports car sounded. Xinye's car sped towards us. Seeing the main subject, the reporters immediately shifted their focus, swarming toward her like a hive of bees. Xinye took off her sunglasses, glanced at me, her red lips parted slightly, uttering a shocking sentence. He and I were lovers for just 1 minute. After saying that, she pushed through the crowd and left elegantly. The reporters instantly erupted in chaos. The looks they gave me became increasingly contemptuous. I stood in the crowd, like a complete and utter joke, letting those mocking gazes fall upon me. Security rushed over, barely managing to rescue me from the pile of reporters. I looked up and saw Bai Ningbing sitting beside the director, watching all this with an indifferent gaze, as if the farce before her had nothing to do with her. Between us, it was as if an unreachable galaxy lay between us. She was on the other side of the galaxy, radiating brilliant light, while I was on this side, notorious, covered in mud. After finally getting rid of the reporters, I walked clumsily to the director's side. Just as I was about to apologize, the director waved his hand first, his tone carrying a hint of detachment. Yuan, I've given it some thought. You might not be suitable for this role. Our crew wants to focus on polishing the film's quality. We don't need an actor with this much controversy. My hand hanging by my side suddenly clenched, nails digging deep into my palm. The pain woke me up a bit. I looked up, looking straight at Bai Ningbing, asking in a hoarse voice, "Is this the director's decision, or yours?" Bai Ningbing kept her eyes downcast, her fingertips carelessly flipping through the script in her hand, as if I didn't exist at all. I opened my mouth, wanting to say something more, but my throat was incredibly dry, as if it had been rubbed harshly with sandpaper. An invisible force gripped my throat, leaving me unable to utter a single word. A moment later, I took a deep breath and bowed deeply to the director, my voice calm and flat. "I understand. I'm sorry, director, for causing trouble for the crew." Seeing me be so tactful, a hint of satisfaction finally appeared on the director's face. I turned around again, and walked to a spot a few steps away from Bai Ningbing, looking at her cold and exquisitely beautiful profile, saying word by word, "Teacher Bai, I wish you a brilliant career in the stars, and a bright future ahead." Bai Ningbing finally looked up at me, gazing at me deeply for a long time. Suddenly, she asked out of the blue, "Do you regret it?" I froze in place. For a moment, I didn't know how to answer. What should I regret? Regretting that back then, to avoid burdening her, I lied about having a terminal illness and staged a pathetic death escape, or regretting that to get close to her again, I returned to the country regardless of everything, and stepped into this cutthroat entertainment industry? Only then did I hear my own voice, sounding clear and firm. Never. I saw clearly, in Bai Ningbing's eyes, that tiny bit of remaining warmth, slowly freezing into ice, cold enough to freeze a person completely. She looked at me, her tone icy, with absolute determination. "I will never want to see you again." Just then, my assistant rushed over, saying frantically, "Brother Yuan, the company tried calling you several times but couldn't get through. They want you to return to the company immediately." Only then did I remember. My phone fell into the river yesterday, and I hadn't had time to get a new SIM card for the new phone. I looked back at Bai Ningbing. Her gaze had already returned to the script. Not glancing at me once more, I curled my lips and said softly, "Bai Ningbing, I don't regret it." After saying that, I turned around and left the set without looking back. Returning to the company, I was already prepared to be scolded by Mr. Zhang, but Mr. Zhang only narrowed his eyes, giving me a half-smile. An ominous feeling welled up in my heart. Before I could speak, he raised his hand and slammed a script onto the table in front of me. "This is the role the company got for you. Director Li's new movie." My heart suddenly tightened. Director Li's name was known to everyone in the industry. He specializes in those movies claiming to target international awards, but are actually vulgar. To put it bluntly, they were just vulgar lowbrow films. My face darkened, and I refused coldly, "Mr. Zhang, I won't take this role." Mr. Zhang acted as if he'd heard a huge joke, the mockery on his face almost overflowing. "Fang Yuan, do you still have the right to negotiate conditions with me? This movie, you'll film it whether you want to or not." Just then, the office door was pushed open, and Lu Qian walked in. In the look she gave me, there was a hint of unmistakable sympathy. She walked to my side, and said in a low voice, The nursing home couldn't reach you. Your mother saw the news online, became agitated, and had a heart attack. Hurry to the hospital. Perhaps you can still see her one last time. Those 4 words, one last time, were like a bolt from the blue, striking me hard on the head, leaving me dizzy and disoriented, almost unable to stand. I forced a smile, my voice trembling uncontrollably. Lu Qian, you're joking with me, right? My mom has always been mentally unstable. How could she have seen the news? Lu Qian shook her head, her tone heavy. Just go. Any later, and I'm afraid you won't even see her one last time. I rushed out of the office like a madman, and behind me came Mr. Zhang's cold and caustic voice. So what if his mother died? In 1 week, even if I have to tie him up, I will drag him into the production. When I arrived at the hospital, my mother had already been pushed into the ICU. A few days ago, the person with the gentle smile in the photo was now lying quietly on the hospital bed, her body covered in tubes, her face as pale as a sheet of paper. I stood blankly outside the ICU door, my whole body cold, trembling uncontrollably. A doctor walked up to me, patted my shoulder, and said heavily, "You're the family member, right? Go in and see her." It seems the elderly lady had an unfulfilled wish, holding on until her final breath. These words were like a sharp knife, stabbing deep into my heart. My eyes grew hot, and scalding tears flowed uncontrollably, as if wanting to release all the grievances and pain accumulated over the years, pouring it all out at once. I dragged my feet, heavy as lead, slowly walking into the ICU. I knelt by the hospital bed, carefully holding my mother's withered hand, choking up, "Mom, it's a Yuan. Can you hear me?" Mother slowly opened her eyes. In her cloudy eyes, a flicker of clarity appeared. A cloudy tear slid from the corner of her eye. She raised her hand, trembling as she stroked my cheek. Voice weak but gentle. "Yuan, don't cry. I can't remember how long it's been since I saw my mother conscious." This long-lost tenderness made my tears flow even harder. I quickly raised my sleeve and wiped my face haphazardly, forcing a smile. "I'm not crying. Mom, you must get better. I've made a lot of money now. The debts will be paid off soon. Dad is gone, and I can give you a good life now." Mother didn't answer, but her eyes were filled with deep guilt. She whispered, "You've grown thin these past few years. Has it been very hard?" I held her hand, shaking my head vigorously, choking up, "Mom, it wasn't hard. Not hard at all." Mother smiled at me gently, with a hint of relief. "It's Mom who held you back. From now on, go live your own life." I just watched my mother, watching the light in her eyes fade away bit by bit, closing slowly, full of longing. I screamed, "Mom!" with all my strength. A piercing alarm instantly echoed through the room. The curve on the heart monitor completely turned into a cold straight line. Mother's hand slid heavily from my palm. The string that had been taut all along finally snapped. The heart-wrenching pain in my chest could no longer be contained. I couldn't hold on any longer, and fell heavily to my knees by the bed, sobbing uncontrollably. On the day of my mother's funeral, very few people came. Lu Qian came by, putting down the bouquet in her hand, looking at me, her tone a bit helpless, and a bit warning. "Yuan, if you insist on not taking that role, the company will take you to court, demanding an astronomical breach of contract fee." She paused, then advised, "Your mother is gone, but those of us still living still have to look forward. Isn't it just filming a movie? As long as you're alive, there will always be a day to make a comeback." The blinding sunlight made it hard to open my eyes. I raised my hand to block the light, my voice terrifyingly calm. "I understand, Sister Qian." Lu Qian sighed in relief. "Fine then. I'll pick you up tomorrow to return to the company." After she left, I remained kneeling before my mother's tombstone, reaching out, gently wiping the photo of my mother on the tombstone. In the photo, she was still smiling gently. But from now on, I am the only one left in this world. As I left the cemetery, I happened to glimpse a black business car parked across the road. That model was very similar to the one Bai Ningbing usually uses. I gave a self-deprecating laugh. How absurd to have come to this point, and still dare to hope that she would come to see me. Bai Ningbing had already said she never wanted to see me again. Returning to the empty apartment, I pulled out a suitcase I hadn't used in years, packing the few clothes I had into it. After packing everything, I sat on the sofa and opened Weibo. My Weibo comment section was filled daily with overwhelming abuse. The interaction volume was even higher than many A-list stars. I took a deep breath and clicked the live stream button. Instantly, countless viewers flooded into the room. The dense malicious comments in the live chat almost completely submerged the screen. I ignored those unsightly words and looked into the camera, gently waved a hand. Calm voice. "Hello everyone, I am Fang Yuan, starting a live stream today. I want to tell you a story about Meng Mingyue." As I finished speaking, the viewer count in the top right corner grew wildly like a rocket, instantly surpassing 1 million.